The 2004 Gran Premio Telmex would be the fifth time the Champ Car World Series raced in Mexico City. There was a brief stint in the 1980s, but the track returned to the schedule in 2002. The 2004 running would be the final race of AJ Allmendinger's rookie season in the Champ Car World Series. He would qualify 7th of 19 drivers and would bring home his second career podium finish in just his 14th start, finishing in 3rd place to race winner and season champion Sebastian Bourdais, who would eventually go on to run in parts of 2 Formula One seasons for Toro Rosso. Michael McDowell would perform double duty in 2005, racing in both the Mexico City 250 Rolex Sports Car Series race, along with making just his second start in the Champ Car World Series for the 2005 Gran Premio Telmex race. McDowell, along with co-driver Memo Gidley, who himself had a few podium finishes in a brief kart stint with Chip Ganassi Racing in 2001, would win the DP class in the Rolex Sports Car race, McDowell's one and only win in the series that he competed full-time in 2005 through 2007. McDowell would have a solid showing in the Champ Car race, qualifying 16th of 19 drivers and finishing in 11th spot on the lead lap in what would be his second and final start in that series, before moving to the ARCA series for a full campaign in 2007. This season would see him win 4 races and finish second in the championship, not bad for his first go in stock cars. Speaking of the 2005 Gran Premio Telmex though, AJ Allmendinger was entered for the second consecutive season. He would one-up his 2004 performance, qualifying and finishing second to teammate Justin Wilson, his 4th second-place finish on the season. Allmendinger would finally break through and win 5 times in 13 races in 2006, but would bail on the season finale taking place at Mexico City despite being second in points to sign a deal with Team Red Bull to drive for their newly formed NASCAR Cup Series team. The team would race full-time in 2007, joining up with new manufacturer Toyota. He attempted 2 Cup Series races to end 2006, Atlanta and Texas, but would fail to qualify for both races. But those weren't the only big races being held in Mexico City for 2005. The NASCAR Xfinity Series, then known as the NASCAR Busch Series, would go international for the first time and make the trip across the border in March for the 2005 Telcel Motorola 200. Joe Gibbs Racing rookie Denny Hamlin was only 3 races into his career and 2 races into his rookie season when he showed up for his first road course race, qualifying in 34th. Hamlin would have a pretty strong run though, climbing through the field and finishing in 15th position. Other recent Cup Series drivers who were in this field included Clint Bowyer, Paul Menard, J.J. Yaley, Kevin Harvick, Jamie McMurray, and race winner Martin Truex Jr. For the 2006 running of the race, 2005 NASCAR Cup Series Rookie of the Year Kyle Busch would join Denny Hamlin on the Busch Series entry list. The original Kyle number 5 for Hendrick Motorsports would qualify in 9th position and have a solid day even leading midway through this one, finishing in 7th position. Hamlin, who would go on to win the 2006 NASCAR Cup Series Rookie of the Year award, would outduel him though, qualifying in 2nd position to Boris Said, shout out to all the Said heads, and would take the lead from him on lap 27. Denny would lead for 12 laps before giving up the lead during a caution and pit sequence, before retaking the lead on lap 53 and not looking back, leading the final 28 laps en route to his first NASCAR Busch Series victory. This may seem like a nothing burger to the modern NASCAR fan, so what, a Cup driver dropping down, winning a lower series race, but in 2006 drivers could compete for points in multiple series, which is what both Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch were doing. Hamlin would ultimately beat Busch in points, finishing 4th to Kyle's 7th, winning again in race 12 at Darlington. While Busch dropped off the entry list for 2007, Hamlin was still entered in the 3rd running of the Telcel Motorola Mexico 200 and was joined by 2007 NASCAR Busch Series rookie contender Brad Keselowski, driving the number 23 car for Keith Coleman Racing. Keselowski would have a rough first road course outing in the NASCAR Busch Series, qualifying in 41st position before blowing an engine on lap 1, finishing in dead last, 43rd position. It wasn't all bad though, as a few short months later, Keselowski would fill in for a suspended Ted Musgrave at Memphis in the NASCAR Truck Series, winning his first pole in a NASCAR-sanctioned event, leading 4 different times for 62 laps, and was leading the race with 10 to go when he was spun by Travis Kvapil, who would go on to win the race. Keselowski finished down in 16th but did enough to be noticed by Junior Motorsports team owner Dale Earnhardt Jr., who quickly moved to get him into his number 88 car. Hamlin, on the other hand, would try and go back-to-back following his win in 2006. Denny would qualify in the top 5 and briefly led once on lap 12, but was running in third position behind Ganassi teammates of Juan Pablo Montoya and race leader Scott Pruitt, both looking for their first NASCAR victory. Montoya, who was racing and finishing on the podium in Formula One at this point last year, was hungrier than the pole sitter Scott Pruitt, who had multiple top 5 finishes in the Cup Series on road courses, highlighted by a second-place finish at Watkins Glen in 2003, pulled some teammate-on-teammate violence with just 8 laps to go, spinning Pruitt out for the lead. Hamlin would go on to finish second to Juan Pablo Montoya, winning his first NASCAR race, but what I think is even more impressive is Pruitt restarted in 18th with just 5 laps to go and still managed to get a top 5. There were a few other drivers I did want to touch on from this race though. They aren't entered in the Cup Series race, but their children are. Ryan Blaney and Todd Gilliland will both be leaning on their fathers a bit in Mexico. David Gilliland, who was competing in his first full-time season in the NASCAR Cup Series, was running a part-time schedule for Team Renske Motorsports. It was Gilliland's first start on a road course across any of NASCAR's top 3 series, and he qualified a respectable 21st position. Unfortunately, Gilliland would wreck out of this one 67 laps in, finishing down in 37th spot. Dave Blaney, who was also full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series, had ran the first 2 races of the NASCAR Busch Series season, finishing second in the season-opening Daytona race and finishing 10th from the pole at Fontana. He qualified down in 31st position, but flipped those numbers around to finish 13th on the lead lap for Braun Racing. Keselowski would again be in the field in 2008, this time with Junior Motorsports, but instead of Denny Hamlin, it would be Kyle Busch, who had moved from Chevrolet to Toyota in the offseason, and he would be in the number 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Keselowski, who didn't drive at any of the other road course races in 2007 and still lacked road course experience, would qualify down in 28th spot. He would fare much better than he did in 2007 and would methodically move his way through the field, coming home in 8th position, which was a massive result for the 88 team. Busch, on the other hand, started from 6th position and led 13 laps early before taking the lead from Scott Pruitt with 9 laps to go and battled with Australian Marcus Ambrose, a second-year driver, looking for his first win. Ambrose was on the short end of a Robbie Gordon stick while in contention at Montreal in 2007. Kyle Busch would hold him off and would go on to win what would be the final race at the circuit, with NASCAR wanting to focus on the local NASCAR Corona Series. Speaking of the NASCAR Corona Series, that brings us to our final driver who has raced in Mexico City, Mexican-born Cup Series driver Daniel Suarez. However, there should be an asterisk here, as none of these came on the road course. All 13 of his starts on this track came on the 1-mile oval configuration. Suarez has 3 wins here, his first in a Dodge in 2012, and 2 from the pole in a Toyota in 2013 and 2014. Despite never winning the championship in that series, Suarez won 10 times from 2012 to 2014, with a 3rd-place championship finish in 2012 and a runner-up in 2013. Suarez would move to the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2015, running full-time for Joe Gibbs Racing, finishing 5th in the championship standings, winning Rookie of the Year, before winning 3 races in the championship in 2016 after putting up 19 top 5s and 27 top 10s in 33 races, becoming the first non-American driver to win a championship in NASCAR's top 3 series. NASCAR will be running a different variation of the circuit this weekend, and with the rapid development in cars since the 2000s, never mind the guys who ran this in open-wheel cars, there isn't much that should translate over here. But familiarity is worth something, so it will be interesting to see if any of these guys can put up a good result this weekend. I mean, Hamlin won last weekend, Allmendinger, Suarez, McDowell all already won on road courses in the next-gen car. That just leaves Kyle Busch, who was already a winner at the track and won in the next-gen car and won on road courses in NASCAR before, so I would say these guys have as good of chance as anybody. Thanks for watching.